What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Cam. I'm your host for the show. Everything is we. I'm sitting here with my lovely wife, Victoria Logan, who is also your host. And we're just so excited and espresso elated to be before you on tonight. We gathered here for such a wonderful and auspicious occasion. We're back, season 2, kicking it off with some transparent realness.
Transparent realness. Is that what this is?
Transparent realness. But first, honey, is there anything that you'd like to say? Is it any welcome, any salutations and greetings that
You
you'd
usually
like to
do
give?
a good job with the intro, so I just let you have it.
I appreciate that. Last week, we did a live with the YouTube fam, and obviously, you know, I love it. I love the live field, the live feed, the instant communication and feedback that we get from the supporters and the listeners and the viewers and the watchers, all of you who support this Everything Is We podcast. Once again, we appreciate you because you could use your time any kind of way, but you decide to use some of that time to listen or to watch us. And we don't take that for granted. So like we were saying last week, we're going to set it up. We're going to have a little bit more of a flow this season. And we wanted to talk you through things that we have experienced in our lives and have gone through and haven't necessarily been open to share those things because it's kind of hard to share something like while you're going through it.
Facts.
But then like I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know. I mean that's one of the beautiful and mysterious things about faith is like you don't know. You just have to believe.
Yeah. Really. Truly.
You just have to believe. And even if it doesn't happen, I believe that God is still able in whatever it is that I'm believing him for.
Right.
With that being said, we will talk about our journey in the fertility space.
Yeah.
Our fertility journey and things that we've encountered, the lengths that we've gone or haven't gone, conversations we've had with each other, with friends, things that people have said to us that have just totally shocked us. I mean, just
Oh boy.
me getting books from
Let's just not even get into all of the gifts that we've
people
gotten.
that I have no relationship with on how to tame your fertility and just crazy stuff that has happened to us.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So it's funny because I feel like one of the main reasons I want to do this is because I feel like it's going to be healing for both of us. Just because for so long, it has been like, it's not like it's been a secret. Like we have never made this a secret. Like we've never like tried to keep it a secret. Like we've said before that we want to have kids. We've said that. We've said that we never said like, y'all, we having sex because we trying to have kids. We never made it that obvious, but obviously, we never said like we're waiting until like we never said that. Like never. The whole time we've been married, we've never said that we were waiting on anything. Like
Ever.
We've been pretty transparent about the fact we wanted to have kids. Like I feel like the first Q&A we did on my YouTube channel, my Vicky Logan channel, that I don't really be on no more. That channel, when we first did our first marriage Q&A in our first year of marriage, the first question we answered was, do we want to have kids? And yet, and still, every person ever wants to ask over and over again, are you going to have kids? When do you want to have kids? Do you want them? How many do you want? When do you want to have them? Are you trying to have them now? Are you waiting to have them? Do you want them? Like it never stopped. That we've been married. How long have we been married, babe? We've been married for almost 8 years. That's crazy. Number one, can we just like take a moment to soak in the fact that we've been making videos about our marriage the whole time, and we've been married for almost 8 years. We've been together for almost 11 years. We started dating in 2011, so we've been together for over 10 years now. So that's crazy. But obviously, at some point during those years, we were gonna start trying, but we never really like started like trying. We've always been kind of like trying, but not really, but kind of, but not really.
Right. We weren't like
the whole time.
Oh my God, we're trying.
No, never. And when we first, well, the whole time we've been married, we have not been preventing. So, I mean, technically we've been trying the whole time.
We ain't never did nothing to not have a kid.
Right. Like we have not used any type of protection the whole time we've been married at all. Like, so that should tell you something. But yeah, we've never really been like secretive about it, but at the same time, we haven't really talked about like the effects of not having kids, because there's so much that goes into it, which is what we're going to talk about into. That's what we're going to talk about. What are you doing over there? You're distracting me.
Sorry. Carry on.
Oh my goodness, fidgeter.
You wouldn't understand. You're not a whooper.
So whooping is a thing. Whooping.
You wouldn't get it.
Anyways, so yes, that's what we're gonna talk about in this video. Basically, just our whole journey. Which started when we walked down the aisle. So
started when we were younger.
You were mine. I don't know. How do we even begin this? Well, when I was a child, I always knew. I don't like when people start stuff like that. I always knew I wanted to be a mom. I'm going to just say it like this, okay? I always knew I wanted to have kids at some point, but I never thought about it. Like, I never thought, like, oh, one day I'm going to be a mom. Like, I never, even with marriage and all of this in general, I never really pictured myself doing any of these things. I just knew that's what at one day I was going to do it, but it was never like like I can't wait until kind of thing for me. So it wasn't like top of mind, but I also didn't think that I would have struggled to have them either, which is also what irritated me, because it's not like I didn't want them, but it's also not like I really wanted them, but because it felt like I couldn't have them, then it made me irritated, because I'm like, well, now that I can't have it, now I'm upset because I wanted more because I can't have it. That's always been kind of my mentality, because I'm not the kind of person to be like force things or like have like these very concrete goals and desires and go after them. Like, I'm not that type of person. I feel like most people know that about me. Like, I'm not the kind of person to be like, I want this and I need it now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a what's for me is for me kind of thing. Like, if it's meant to be, it'll happen when it's supposed to happen. I always kind of felt like that. But at the same time, like, for me, because I am like, I want to be, not that I want to be good at everything, but if I'm going to do something and I know I should be able to do it, if I can't do it, I'm going to figure out how, or like, I'm going to be mad because I can't. Does that make sense? I don't know if you feel this way, but for me, it's like, I think most women feel like this when they figure out that something's not right. It's like you start feeling like something's wrong with me, so I got to figure out how to fix it. And for me, it's like I didn't want to. It's like you don't know that until you realize something's wrong. And then you're like, dang, something's wrong. And then it's like, but why? So then it's like you're going through all these thoughts of like, why is something wrong? So then I'm like trying to backtrack. So that's when I didn't realize this until, actually, No, I'm gonna backtrack some more. I'm gonna backtrack to way before we got married.
Take it back.
I'm gonna take it way back because I actually knew something was wrong. Most of y'all know this because I started doing the health journey videos when that's around the time where I was like taking it seriously. But before then, before we started dating, even when I was in high school, I knew something was kind of off with me already because I wasn't getting a period. I hadn't had one since, like, a real one since I started it. So like when I was in middle school and I started my period, after that, I never really got them. When I was in high school, I wasn't getting one, and I'd never had cramps. I'd never had any of those type of issues. So I felt like, I mean, I didn't really care because I didn't want to be in pain like everybody else was. But I also, that plus the lack of, feminine growth, being made fun of because I was really skinny, didn't have no booty, didn't have no titty. All of those things kind of contributed to me feeling less than as a woman. Like guys didn't really like talk to me like that. I mean, they liked me for the most part, but they always used to tell me that I would be more attractive if I had a body, which was very rude, first of all. But anywho, but those type of things kind of contributed to, it didn't really lower my self-esteem, but it did like kind of make me feel like, okay, I'm not like the average, I'm not your average Joe. Okay. And it didn't really bother me until we were married, actually. It didn't bother me. None of that really like came up in my head until we were like a year in. All of our friends are getting pregnant and everybody's like, oh, y'all next. And I'm like, I don't think I can get pregnant. And I felt it because I'm like, I haven't had a period, number one. The whole time we were dating, and even after we got married, I never really got one. So I was like, maybe something's not right. And then other things happened. This was 2016. Other things happened that pretty much killed my self-esteem. At that point, I was growing a lot on YouTube, and people were starting to attack me more. Like just, in comments and stuff. And I just delete them and kind of shrug it off. But over time, a lot of the things people were saying about me were starting to add up and like add on to how I already was feeling because of me in, high school and stuff, and how I was feeling about my body and not having a body and feeling like I'm not feminine enough or whatever. And then here come the people on YouTube telling me I look like a transgender, and, I needed to give my husband a child and blah, 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 like all this kind of stuff. So it like all these comments, and then like comments people have made to me in real life, and all of that is just kind of like compiled, and it blew up on me at once. So that was the year I cut all my hair off and was dyeing it different colors every other month. And I was like really depressed for like 6 months or so because I'm like, something's wrong with me. And that's when it hit me. I don't know when it hit you. Well, you actually didn't know because I never talked to Cam about it. I didn't talk to you at all about it. I didn't say anything because I didn't feel like it was worth talking about. I just felt like, well, one day it'll happen and I'll be fine. But for now, I suck. And that's when we had moved into this house. We had just moved into this house, and it was like, I was like, dang, I want a dog or something, because like that's when we got Gigi. Like that's when all that happened.
That year did kind of suck.
That year sucked.
Not to make light of your situation, but like we moved.
Yeah, it was a lot that happened that year.
In the peak of winter, in the peak of Christmas time, like we moved. We went out of town to go see her family, and then like my mom was like here, like trying to get the movers.
Y'all, the whole story of us moving into this house is actually a real shambles
like
mess.
Legit.
That's why I can't wait to move out, because I'm just like, this house is just. It was pretty booty from the top.
It was full of mess.
It was messy. Like it was a messy move. I don't remember anything about it, but
you was going through hell.
Oh my God.
I felt terrible.
Oh my God.
Like do y'all realize, I'm looking into the camera, like do you realize what it's like when you have over 300,000 followers amassed from all your social media sites, and 150,000 of those people are like attacking you for stuff
like
that we as black people say to each other all the time?
I didn't even want to talk about that situation, but I mean, that really did. It wasn't that actually, I mean, it was, because that whole situation was just stupid. But
on top of other like
I was already
drama
feeling
sites and stuff.
right. I was already feeling really bad about myself, and so when that hit me, it hit me pretty hard.
Yeah, because we were moving while we were out of town, and then when we came back, then it's your birthday.
Yep.
And then all of this stuff is coming out, and we're in this new house, and we're trying to get acclimated to a new space, new routes, new ways.
Yep.
Dealing with this hell that we going through, you not being yourself.
Yeah.
Then like literally, like you said, like all of our friends are having kids. All of our married friends are having kids at this particular point.
Yep.
And like at that point, we didn't really know. That's why it's like as you grow and you mature, you get older, you kind of realize like certain things you just probably shouldn't say just because you don't know you don't know what someone else is going through. You don't know the severity of what people are going through.
Yeah.
And so it's like something that you may say out of love. Like the first time it'd be like, oh, like, yeah, yeah. But then like the second or third time you say it, and you still don't know because they haven't expressed that to you. It's like, man, maybe I shouldn't say that. And that's when, like, that's kind of when I started learning, like you just don't randomly ask a woman, oh, like, oh, when you gonna get pregnant? Girl, you gonna get pregnant? Oh yeah, y'all next. Like just talking to couples, like you have no idea what couples are going through.
You have no idea.
Especially in the Black community, we just make it like this thing. That's because, and y'all not gonna like me. I told y'all already in the last episode, we gonna say some stuff in this season
say
that
it
y'all
like
not
it
gonna
is.
like.
Say it like it is.
In the African American community, we are used to having children out of wedlock.
Yes, people get pregnant very easily.
We are used to having fun, as some of us say, sinning, as the Christians say, exploring
Sexing.
our bodies, as New Age people say, just being free and allowing ourselves to experience our sensuality and our sexuality as whatever you want to title yourself, right? We're so used to this, but then when the literal fruits of our labor, and when it's time for that to happen, then it's like, oh, your fun partner never wanted to have a kid, and now you have this whole human responsibility to raise them, to be a mother to them, to nurture them, and children deserve to have a mother and a father. Like that's what children deserve. Children are a literal gift from God, and they deserve to have a healthy environment where they can grow and become model citizens and humans in the earth.
Future good person.
But Black people, the majority of us, we just so used to seeing dysfunction, and we just so used to, see this is how it's done. And I'm not saying this like I'm Black. Like I have Black family. I have Black family members.
We know how this goes.
Like I've seen it.
Yes, we know how this goes.
I would give you like examples upon examples if I wasn't, if I didn't love my family, then didn't want to put them on blast. But like we've seen this over and over again.
Yes, we've had to literally watch people get pregnant over and over again when they didn't want to, they wasn't trying to, they didn't, and it just happens for them. Yeah. While we over here trying to do things the right way.
And so then they're looking at this like, well, they're
all you gotta do is lay down and have a sex, and then you get pregnant. That's
in
how
their
you do
head.
it.
It's like, well, what y'all waiting for? And we've been in the airport, celebrities that we knew.
Celebrities. I don't want to call them a celebrity.
Said something. Hey, Cam. How long you been married? Oh, we've been married, I don't know, at that time, 5 years. Man, what you waiting for, Doc? Bro, like, you have no idea what people are going through. Like, you just don't. Like,
and I feel like in the Black community, we don't really consider, first of all, we don't talk about it. That's the thing.
Yeah, right.
We don't talk about it.
Right.
And Wanda's probably gonna talk about this when if we discuss it with them. But she was saying this on, I forget where, on her live the other day. She was talking about how she started her story, telling her story or whatever. And she's like, I didn't see any black people talking about infertility on YouTube. None. Like, we don't talk about it. Nobody in my family has ever told me that they struggled to have a child. I just assumed that everybody got pregnant. My parents had me young. It was easy for them. So I just felt like that's how it was supposed to be. So then here I go trying to, do what I got to do. And it ain't doing what it's supposed to do. And I'm like, am I the only one that is not having an easy time doing this? Because it seems like everybody else is a little easy for them.
Right.
I'm a little confused. Because I ain't never seen nobody talk about it. So I'm just like, well, who do I talk to? Because nobody else seems to have an issue like this. And if they do, they're not talking about it because they feel like me, like, this is embarrassing. Okay. Like, my body's not doing things it's supposed to do. That's weird. That's suspicious. And then on top of that, like, I have all this expectation from people to, do something, start a family, and it's like not happening. So now I have pressure, which I don't like pressure, because then it's like I'm performing for people. So it's like literally like people don't care unless the next step happens. And that's one of the reasons why I kind of slowed down with doing YouTube videos, was because I felt like people were literally waiting for me to announce something.
Right.
All the time. They're like, it's like, I don't care about this makeup look. Like, when are you going to stop wasting your time and actually do what you should do? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's how it felt. I mean, I know not everybody felt like that, but that's what it felt like. When people keep asking you over and over again, like, that's what it feels like. We're waiting. So when are you going to do it?
Yep.
You know, and it's like, I don't want all that pressure. That's a lot of pressure on top of the just natural pressure that my own body is putting on me, because I'm getting a period now. So like, now it's like, okay, well, at least can I, like, now I have the pressure of my own self. It's just, that's a lot. But yeah, I think, cause I was trying to timeline this. 2016.
The Warriors also lost in the finals. They got robbed. That's what I was saying. Like, I'm not trying to make light of the situation, because
no, it's
like,
fine.
this was a very serious year, and that was around the time, not 2016, but like Kobe had, passed the baton.
Yeah. No, that was 2016. He retired. That was 2016. He retired that year. I didn't have no hair. He retired that year. That was the year he retired.
Yeah, because 96. Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, so that's the year.
My hair was cut off.
He passed the baton.
I remember everything by my hair being cut off.
Warriors in the finals. They get robbed. We can have a whole discussion about that.
Oh, boy. No, we don't need to have a
like,
discussion
it was just a funky year. Like I'm saying, like, all of our friends, like, literally kids.
Yeah.
This couple.
And then we were also having
this couple.
friendship issues as well. We were also having friendship issues as well.
Yeah.
But
that
was a rough year.
2016.
That was a rough year. And I remember being on vacation. I think we were in Palm Springs. I'm not sure. And I was not in a good headspace at all that year. But
people were had a short hair. We took the picture on the mountain.
Yes, and people were commenting about my stomach and asking me if I was pregnant. And I made another post basically addressing them, like, y'all need to leave me alone, like, get out of my ovaries, blah, blah, blah. And you were like, why do you care so much? And like, I realized I had never talked to you about it. So you didn't know. But like, that was like, I feel like that was probably one of the hardest moments. Because I didn't know how to tell you that I cared, because I didn't want to care. Because it just seems stupid to care so much. Because normally I don't care about anything. So
normally Vicky don't care what people think.
I normally don't
like
care.
She'll ask y'all what shoes should I wear, and whichever one has like no, don't wear. She's gonna wear those. Like she's that kind of person. Like
I am.
She's going to do the opposite of conform.
And then and like I feel like you've kind of at that point, we hadn't really gone through anything yet in our marriage for you to see me in a broken state. Like up until then, I was pretty confident, I'm a really confident person. Like, I'm defensive. I'm like, no, what you're not going to do is you're not going to, you know what I mean? I still hadn't told you anything. I think until like the end of the year which I don't know if you want to tell this story. The when the prophet came.
I mean, that's a part of it.
It is. So I hadn't said anything to Cam, and I wasn't gonna say anything because I just felt like I didn't want to talk about it. And I wasn't gonna say. This is how the Lord literally has to force me to do things, because I will not. Like, I'm stubborn. I'm not going to. I will hold things in until I can hold it no further. And he was like, bet. So a prophet came to our church. And if you grew up in church, you know when the prophet come, you hide in the back, because you don't you don't want him to read you for filth in front of everybody.
But here's the thing. I'm not gonna say it's a trick, but here's what I started doing, because like every year like that I got in trouble, like we would have a prophet come and like they would call me up to the front and they would prophesy. And it would like just be all this stuff, and I'd be crying because it would be true.
See, that never really happened to me.
But then, like, what I started doing was, number one, I stopped getting in trouble, and then number two, I would actually like not care. And then like once I stopped caring, like they stopped.
And that's
prophesying.
The thing, you gotta not care, because any other time I'm not thinking about nothing. I'm just like, dang, who he finna get. You know what I mean? Like, we was just waiting. But this time, when I sat there and he was walking and looking, we made eye contact, and I was like, he about to call me up. I knew it. I felt it. I was like, he about to call me up. And I was so mad because I'm like, dang, I already knew what was finna happen. And I was like, if he tell me I'm gonna get pregnant, I'm about to be so mad. And then he said it, and I was just like, dang, now I gotta fall out. Because I didn't want anybody to know that. Like, it was so irritating. But anyways, basically, this is how I know Jesus is real. If you ever have one of these Jesus is real moments, this is how you know Jesus is real, because he called me up. I never met this man ever in my life. He don't know nothing about me. He called me up and he basically read me for filth, in front of everybody, the whole church, and basically said, you are struggling. And like, he went into like my whole anatomy. I don't remember what he said because I blanked out after that. But then he was basically like, you've been feeling less than a woman. Like, you've been doubting yourself. You've been trying, and like, it hasn't been working. And like, at that point, but he said I was going to get pregnant. This is what he said. He said I was going to get pregnant. It's going to be a miracle, blah, blah, blah. And that was in 2016. So that was a long time ago. But that was the first time anybody ever knew anything. So like, Cam.
And I felt like you felt some kind of way because like our friends' parents were there.
Our friends' parents were there. Cam's parents saw it. They were there. Pretty much everybody at the church at that point knew all my business. But what I feel like the hardest part was just you knowing at that point, because you didn't know. So like, it low key, I felt like it kind of put you on blast. Not really, because nobody knew that you didn't know. But it's just like, you like, dang, like, what just happened?
No, it didn't necessarily put me on blast. Like, I just was like you're my wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if I see you in a state that I've never seen you before, right? Because I'm pretty sure that's the first time you ever seen me like really cry. Right. Bro,
like, I fell on the ground and I'm crying.
Like, I'm really concerned, not for selfish reasons. Like, oh my God, she hasn't. Oh, I'm like, man, you good? Like, I was finna get on the floor with you and cry, because I'm like, man, she's crying. Like, this is not a fluke, because I ain't never seen you cry like that we in church
in public. I didn't want to.
We grew up in church.
I didn't want. Trust me, I did not want to cry in church.
Crying in church for us is not like a.
As a preacher's kid, crying in church,
we don't do that
in front of the whole church.
We do not care,
right? But as a preacher's kid, if you start crying in front of the whole church, it's a big deal, because they're like, "Dang, what happened?" You know what I mean? Like, it's like monumental. It's like if Beyonce start crying or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's like somebody famous starts crying about something, and you're like, "Wow, like, they're really sad." It's like when Will Smith started crying in The Fresh Prince. And like, he was like, "Why don't he love me, man?" That's how it feels.
You can't use a show because shows don't bring any emotion out of me.
You didn't feel anything when
Not
Will's dad left?
Not at all. But
and he started crying Uncle Phil's arms? Babe, that's the most monumental moment in TV history.
I understand.
You didn't feel anything?
Not a thing.
Oh my gosh. Okay, anywho.
But like I'm saying, like I felt for you.
It was very embarrassing.
Because
it was very embarrassing.
The only time I started feeling and getting kind of angry with church people
was after that,
and frustrated with God is after that.
Yep.
After months
and years,
and then a year,
and then another year,
and then years.
And what year is this now?
And now we're in 2021.
That was how many years ago?
At the end of 2021. That was in 2016.
That was 5 years ago. No, it's almost 6 years ago.
And it's like,
okay, so he said it. So
okay. And it still hasn't happened yet. And I understand spiritual warfare. Guys, I get it. Trust me. I understand all of that.
I should have did a preface before y'all comment and leave any suggestions.
And that's okay. Y'all can
any
comment.
Advice.
Comment.
No, you can comment, but I'm just saying.
Do all of the things.
We've heard
but
all
we,
the.
But we know.
We know. If you're gonna leave a comment with a suggestion or anything like that, we know.
This video is not for you to give us your remedies and your suggestions.
And it's also not I don't want a pity party. And this is one of the reasons why I didn't want to do this. I didn't want a pity party. I didn't want people to feel bad for me. I don't want you to feel like you have to type out a whole long prayer and I don't want y'all to do that. Like, please don't feel bad for us.
Now we will say this. If you feel absolutely positively led by God and his precious Holy Spirit, if you feel led, sure, hit us up, hit me up in the
DM.
Cam don't hit her up.
Don't hit me up. Because at this point, I don't want to hear it anymore.
Only if it's God. If it's not God, and I read it and I'm like, oh, this is all flesh or foolishness,
send it to Cam. Even if you have, because at this point, I'm very selective about who I want to pray for me, who I want to talk about this with, just because it's overwhelming. Even the positivity is overwhelming. Positive reinforcement, and that's what I wanted to talk about. Moving past, the struggle year, and then going into all that has happened after that. And it's like, even positivity, even like the trying to be positive, trying to encourage me, giving me books, giving me plaques, giving me books, giving me money for my children's college fund, giving me, all of that is great. But at the same time, when you're not in a good space, I don't want that stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I get it. I get where the heart is at. I get that people want us to be, to feel better about it or whatever, but there's literally nothing you can do to take away the actual feelings. So to me, it's just like, you just keep reminding me that I'm not able to have children. Like, you know what I mean? Like, telling me, oh, it's going to be okay. I want to pray for you, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't make me feel better. It makes me feel worse. It makes me feel like a charity case. You know what I mean? And I never wanted that I was already getting that at church from everybody at church. So, I've already had people touch my stomach and pray for me, and I don't want any more of that. But then to have it happen on the internet too, I absolutely did not want that at all. Because I didn't want the opinions. I didn't want people to make me feel like, I don't know, worse about the situation, but I also didn't want people to continue to remind me of it. You know what I mean? And I understand, like, being an encouragement is important and people need to hear our story and all of that. But at the same time, that's a lot of responsibility when you're still going through it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, not only do I have to deal with my own emotions, but now I got to deal with everybody else's emotions coming at me too. Like, that's a lot. So that's why it took us so long to get to this point to even talk about it, because I needed to make sure I was in a good space mentally to even discuss it with people. Like, to even like let people know is a lot for me. I feel like I'm finally at the space now where I'm like, child, please, I'm content, but prior to, no. A couple years ago, if I would have tried to talk about this on the internet, And like just one comment would have sent me off, and I would have deleted all my social media and never got back on ever again. So, I mean, the fact that I'm here right now is Jesus, because I was this close to delete my whole YouTube channel. You hear me? It's a miracle it's still up. But yeah, like after everybody found out, that's when I feel like it got harder. Because prior to that, it was just me fighting by myself. You know what I mean? But now it's like everybody fighting with me. And for some reason, that made it so much harder for me. Before it was just like, okay, maybe it's kind of all in my head. There's nothing confirmed. You know, it could just be I'm thinking too hard. You know what I mean? Like maybe I'm just like, maybe I just need to eat more. Maybe I just need to, because before 2017 even started, during 2016 when I was feeling this way, I did go to the OBGYN and have an ultrasound done. I had them check, my ovaries and do all of that stuff. I had a blood test done. I had them check pretty much everything that they could check based on their whatever they have there at the doctor's office. And so I had them, and they said, when I tell you they said everything was fine, there was nothing. Like no cysts, no PCOS, none of that. Like they were just like, no, you're fine. You probably just need to eat a little bit more. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, all right, maybe I just need to eat more. So I tried eating more. Wasn't really working. So I'm like, okay.
But then, because I never understood that, because I know people smaller than you
that have gotten pregnant. So I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. And so I'm just trying to put two and two together, because I'm like, I mean, I know people who are not healthy, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going through the list trying to figure out how could it be nothing?
Drugs.
How could it be nothing? I mean, there's people who've gotten their tubes tied and had babies. Like you know what I'm saying? So it's not like just, I don't know. Anyway, so I was like, all right, clearly something is off, because I asked them, I'm like, yo, I still haven't had a period. So like, please, could you let me know if anything is wrong? Like what's going on? And they didn't have any answers for me. They just said, I need to eat more. That's it. That didn't work. So, in 2017, that's when I was like, I had told my dad about what happened, and he was like, okay, I've been talking to this doctor, blah, blah, blah. And that's when he introduced me to Dr. Janine. And, so I got her number, we talked, and within a month of talking to her, I got my period back. And so we had started working on my health and stuff. And that's when I made the health journey videos. And I was like, all right, so I'm going to is that the word I was trying to say? Chronicle? I'm going to chronicle this. I'm going to document this. I was trying to use a big word. I'm going to document this because I feel like there's going to be a testimony out of this at some point. So I might as well start doing it now. So I started chronicling. That's the word. That's a word that works for that. I started documenting my health journey. I started feeling better. First of all, can we just talk about the fact that part of my anxiety and depression came from me not even being physically healthy, because gut health has a lot to do with your anxiety and depression. If you didn't know that, what you eat can actually make you depressed. But getting my health in order helped out a lot. I started kind of, trying to work out and get my body right and stuff. I started getting a little thick, and I'm like, okay, look at me. Claps for me on that one, because I thought I did something. But yes, that was actually like really therapeutic for me. Also, we got Gigi, so that helped too. Shout out to Gigi. But it was very therapeutic for me to start like getting my health in order and stuff. And that year, I don't know if I still don't know to this day. I don't know, but I think I got pregnant that year actually.
Where? When?
It was like in August. And I remember
when?
I made a health update video, and I talked about
year?
it. Of 2017. I made a health update video and I talked about it. I had missed a period and I was feeling weird, but it was only lasted for like 2 weeks or so, like 2 or 3 weeks. And then I got my period back, but it was really, really heavy. And then I went to the doctor because I was like, I think I may have had an early miscarriage. And so they were like, we're going to check your levels, blah, blah, blah. But then the next day I went to New York. So I didn't get to go to the doctor until after I came back. So by the time I went to the doctor, they said everything was fine. So I'm still not sure if that's what happened, but I wasn't sad because I felt like, okay, at least I know my body is doing something. I felt like we were on the right track. You know what I mean? So I wasn't sad about it. I didn't think too much of it. I still to this day don't know if that's what it was. It could have been. But you know, when I was talking to my doctor about it, she was like, a lot of women don't know this, but it's very, very common to have early miscarriages and think it's a missed period, but it was a miscarriage. And most people don't know that. And see, these are the things that you just don't know unless you ask or talk to somebody about it. But it's very common. And like, I don't have the stats in front of me. I probably should have had the stats in front of me. But it's very common for women to have miscarriages. And it's very common for women to go through infertility. And so I started learning these things that year because, you know, obviously I'm like working on my body and stuff and learning more about my body. But also at around that time, that's when we learned about, when was KJ born? Is that 2017? He was born in 2017. So that same year, a few months after when we found out Jennifer was pregnant, she reached out to me. And because, yeah, she was pregnant with KJ. She reached out to me earlier that year in 2017, right after I started going to get my health checked and stuff. Well, not going, but like I had all my labs done and learned about my tissue minerals and learned that I was literally depleted, like had no nutrients in my body at all. So that's why I kind of, you know, started eating more and stuff. But anyways, when I started doing all of that, she reached out to me because she was there and she saw what happened. And she was like, I feel for you, blah, blah, blah. She was pregnant. And so she like kind of like helped me with that. So that was the first time anybody had ever talked to me about infertility was with her. And most of y'all who watch Life with Logans probably y'all knew who or know who Jennifer is. But she was very instrumental in helping me through that phase of my life. And that's why I'm so grateful for people. And that's why we wanted to continue to talk about why relationships are so important, because they really helped us through that, because they were the first people in our group of, like, in our tribe, in our, you know, group, right, who had actually opened up about infertility or whatever. They're the only ones we knew who were going through it.
Right.
So that's when we started talking to them about it, and like just KJ being a whole miracle and all that. That was like just so timely. And it really like changed my perspective on how faith works. I feel like that's when I really started learning more about the faith I didn't have. Because, you know, you think you have faith until you need it. You think you have faith until you actually have to use it. And then you're like, dang, wait, whoa, I didn't know I ain't had that much. I don't got that much faith. Hold on a minute, Jesus. Let me figure out what this really means. Because, like, it didn't click for me until then. And I'm like, oh, this is what faith looks like. Knowing something is going to happen, but it ain't happened yet, and you don't know when it's going to happen. So you just have to, like, believe that it's going to happen. Like, I have to, like, literally believe that this man came to this church and told me my whole business in front of everybody, and that I'm actually going to get pregnant. Like, I have to believe all of that in order for it to work.
Yep.
And at the time, it just didn't make sense to me. Like, I don't know. Like, it was so, going through all of that was so, like, weird, because it was the first time I ever really had to, like, have faith for something. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, everything else up until then, I was kind of going off my grandparents and my parents' prayers. And I never really needed to have my own. And so that's when I kind of learned how to have faith. But also, like, it really helped me to become more vulnerable and open up. Because I, you know, never really expressed my emotions about much before. So that was my first time having to really do that. And then I feel like after 2017, I started getting a lot better, as far as being more vulnerable and open. Not necessarily my feelings, because I was still going through a lot of emotional changes. Number one, because my hormones were changing, which was weird. Because obviously I'm working on my hormones, trying to get them right. I'm taking supplements. I have my period now. Now that's when I start making all them vagina videos on my main channel, because I'm like, I have to figure out how to be a whole woman now, because now my hips start spreading, my my boobs start filling out a little bit. I'm like, whoa, well, hold on, wait a minute. Where did all this come from? I was like, what? Okay, look at me. Y'all see these little hips? I was shook. Okay. But it came with a lot, and I was still learning myself. And like, that was a very pivotal moment in my life. I'm like, geez Louise, who am I even? I had a little existential crisis for a second. And like, I feel like there was a lot of weight and pressure still on me. So that was also around the time when I think you were ordained in 2017 too.
No, I was ordained in 2015.
Oh, that was 2015. Just kidding. Well, maybe I don't know. I just felt like ministry stuff started picking up around that time too. I'm not sure.
We started going like the youth events started going crazy then. That's
Probably. I don't know. But I just remember that started kind of
2017, 2018.
2018 was really hard year for me too. That summer was very difficult for me. I was depressed again about a number of things. It's just like after that, like I said last episode, a bomb went off, and like it was like one thing I was learning. I learned something new about myself every year after that, and it started with the fertility thing, but then all these emotions that I never knew I had just start coming out all at once. It's like Pandora's box, like all of it just like, and I'm like, who is that? Who am I? What's going on? I mean, it was really strange, but I was learning myself. But at the same time, it was very difficult because, let me know if I'm talking too much. Cause I want you to give your side too, but it was very, very difficult for me just because I was also on the internet, and, I feel like that wasn't helping because I was literally still vlogging my whole life, and we were vlogging a lot. And it just felt like, even though nobody really knew what I was going through, it still felt like I wasn't sharing so much of me because of that. Does that make sense? Like, there was a lot that I was trying to hold back, and I felt like I wasn't being my full self, if that makes sense. And it just felt like I wasn't growing. So I was like, I need time, and I need time to just really deal with me. And it wasn't until 2020 when the lockdown, the panoramic happened, and we were literally forced to sit down and think about things. And I remember sitting in this corner, looking out that window pretty much every day, just like going through all them emotions and like just letting it all go. I stopped making YouTube videos for the most part. Stopped really vlogging like that. And I was like, I'm just going to sit here and we're just going to deal with me, because I was like, you're about to turn 30. It had hit me that you're about to turn 30. And I'm like, we still ain't had no kid yet. This dude said we was about to have a baby and we still ain't had it. He about to be 30. He said he wanted to have kids before we were 30, and we're here. And it's still, and just like, I'm like, I don't want to be, I remember telling you, I was like, I don't want you to feel like, I don't want you to feel disappointed because it hasn't happened yet. And like, I was just like, I need to really like let this go, because I can't hold this anymore. It just wasn't working. I'm like, I just don't like feeling like this. It just like feels so sad. I don't know. Like it wasn't even that we couldn't have the kid. It's just like you have these expectations of how you want things to go, and then you're disappointed when it's not going that way. And I don't know, like sitting in here and just thinking about all of the emotional, like I was like walking around this house, like there are so many moments where we've been here. You probably didn't even know, but like I'd be like in my closet crying, or like just like I look at places in this house and I'm like, dang, like I was really sad. Like I was really going through it. And I'm like, I need to let all this go. Like I can't. So that's when I was like, you know what? I want to move all my stuff out of this room. We're going to start the podcast. Like just switch it up. Just get all this negative energy. Just let it go. Cause I don't like this. I didn't like being like that no more. And I was just tired of feeling that way. So I just made up in my mind. I'm like, you know what? It's okay. gonna be all right. And I was like,
It's gonna be all right.
I'm gonna just let it go. And that's and the pandemic made me realize that it's like what matters most is peace. And I need that peace. And I didn't have it because I hadn't fully gave it to God, like fully. I kind of gave him pieces, but never really like let it fully go. You know what I mean?
You hadn't turned it over to the Lord so he could work it out.
I had it, and I was trying to control my emotions. I have a lot of control issues. And I feel like if I can't control something and it's out of my control, it's bad. So my feelings, I felt like they were bad. Like I can't have feelings because they're out of control and I don't know how to control them. So I don't want to have them. So I'm not going to show them and I'm not going to talk about them. But that wasn't working. So it's like, bruh, you got to let it go. You know? Also, in 2020 was when I got close to Wanda. And she helped me through those emotions too. I think community is really, and then we met Tia and Manny. You know, it's just
at the beginning of 2020.
We met Wanda and Lo in 2019 when they were in Barbados. That's when I met Wanda. Well, that's when we started talking for real. We were following each other before then, but
wait, when did we went to LA for something?
We went to LA. I had an event in LA with RPG Show.
So that was around like the end of the year 2019.
We had a workcation in Atlanta. I got my hair done.
And then we flew to LA and kicked it for a couple of days.
Yes. But
and that's when we met Wanda. That's when we physically met Wanda and Lo.
Yes, but I start talking to Wanda for real when they were in Barbados in like earlier that year, like in the spring or something.
Right. So I'm going through my timeline. So then we met Wanda and Lo fall 2019.
Yeah.
Then 2020 arrives right before all hell breaks loose. We're in the Dominican. We're in the DR. No, Punta Cana. Yeah.
Yeah.
DR. Punta Cana. And
that was a good trip.
This guy just starts like reaching out to me and he's super cool. And like for what I do in ministry space, like he's definitely someone that like you want to be connected to. And I'm like, bro, like this dude is just reaching out to me and like hit me up. So I'm reaching, you know me, I'm Cam. So I'm, yeah, bro, yeah, man, dog. And like he just starts like being super transparent with me. And I'm just like, bro, like I don't even know you like that. Turns out it's Manny Horango. And Manny and Tia were going through their entire fertility journey.
Yep.
And I guess they had got inspired because Wanda reached out to Tia.
Yep.
And this is why I'm telling y'all, like I 100% believe I started the show saying this. I don't know what's going to happen, but I didn't get to say this part. I 100% believe that us even talking about this to our 16,000 plus subscribers and our 5,000 plus daily, like the 5,000 that's consistent. Come on, there's power in that. Jesus fed the 5,000.
Shut up. Get to your point.
Come on now. 2 fish and 5 loaves.
Get to your point.
So the 5,000 of you that watch this on a consistent and regular basis, like I don't know what's going to happen, but I truly believe that something is going to happen.
I believe that there is a lot of power in transparency.
Yeah.
Because not just pertaining to this, but in anything, I always say that the devil likes to hide in secrecy. Anytime that you keep something a secret.
The earth got waves.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Anytime you keep something.
The secrets is it allows for, it's easier for the devil to put thoughts in your head and make you feel terrible, guilt, shame, and disappointment, because it's a secret. When it's out and you are transparent and open about it and you share with somebody that you can confide in or whatever, when you share those things, it's way easier for you to break free from it.
Yep.
Because Now it's out in the open and it's not a secret anymore. Now somebody else can pray for you or whatever. But also it's freeing for you to just talk about it and be honest about it. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole reason why I could even do this right now is because I've been open and transparent with other people about it. Yep. Because other people have encouraged me and I've seen other people go through the same thing and be successful. You know what I'm saying? And get a miracle out of it. And it's so crazy to me. Let me tell you why it's so crazy. It's so crazy to me how I'm going through this, right? Prior to this, never heard anybody else talk about it. Prior to me, like, actually telling you, well, you finding out and all this stuff. Never heard anybody else talk about it. Never seen anybody else talk about it. And it's kind of like the thing where, like, if you get a car
you buy a new
and
car
you see that car everywhere. Yeah. It feels like that, but also at the same time, I know this is different, okay? Because while it is common for women to go through fertility issues, it's becoming more and more common because of the earth not being what it used to be. I mean, if we're going to really be real about it, there are thousands of things that are disrupting your hormones every single day that we're not as common 10, 20, whatever. You know what I mean? It's a lot easier for women to have issues nowadays because it is. But I did not see anybody talking about this until I realized I was going through it. And then Desi made her video on YouTube and she made her whole series about infertility. And then, like, some of the people that I've watched for, I was watching these people I watched Nicole Guerrero for 10 years and would have never would have thought I'd hear her talk about miscarriages. You know what I mean? Like, Farah Dukai. Like, I mean, like, it's just like, it started becoming more real and more common, which is so weird to me. Like, how just randomly, like, people are like, oh yeah, I went through that too. Oh yeah, I went through that. It's like the transparency opened up like a new world to me of people who go through the same thing. And it's like, you're not alone. It's crazy. It's like all these people start telling us, oh girl, yeah, I went through that too. Like, this happened to me, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, Mom, well, I don't want to say that. Maybe she don't want her business out there. But people like, in my family were like, oh yeah, I struggled having kids too. I'm like, well, why ain't you, how come you ain't say nothing to me? Like, you should have been said that.
Yeah.
But it's like when you open the door for transparency, other people become more transparent with you. And then, like, it creates a safe space, an environment for you to be more open. And, like, then you release some of that guilt and feeling like you're alone and feeling like it's just you and feeling like you're weird, like something's wrong with you. You know what I mean? When it becomes more normal, not normal, but more common, you don't feel as alone. You know what I'm saying? And that was one of the first things Jennifer told me to do. She was like, you need to, like, join a support group. I didn't join the support group because over time people just start coming out and talking to me about it. But so that was helpful to me. But had I not had that, there are support groups out there. So if you do need somebody to talk to and you don't have anybody close to you or whatever, support groups help a lot. Also coloring, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, like, it's just so weird to me how, like, all these people just came out of nowhere, right at the right time too, because all of our our friend group before, the ones that we were, showing on Life with the Logans, like all of our friends that we would hang out with on Life with the Logans and stuff. Most of y'all know we went to all their baby showers and we showed all their baby showers. We were showing y'all the gender reveals and, like, celebrating them. And that's great. No shade to them at all. We love everybody. But literally all of our friends were getting pregnant back to back to back to back to back. And it felt like we were the only ones who couldn't get pregnant.
Right.
And after, like, the 17th baby shower, it was just like, dang, like, bruh, this is difficult. I don't want to go to any more of these baby showers. I don't want to buy nobody else baby a gift. I want my own baby gifts. You know what I'm saying? And that's, like I said, no shade to them. It's just, that's hard. That's very hard. It's very difficult. And so it just, like, was the perfect timing that we started getting friends who were going through the same things we were going through and could understand and knew how to, knew how it was, knew what it felt like. You know what I mean? It was just nice to have that, because before it really felt like we was like we was the only ones.
I always say it that this is why, you know, I know some of you that may be watching, some of you that may, you know, be have had bad experience with the church, whatever. I'm sorry that you went through that. I'm sorry that you had to experience that. But I know, for me, I've been on missions trips out of the country. I've seen miracles, like with my own two eyes. I've been in the room. I've been in the building.
We know God is real.
I've seen people have a true hunger and desire for the real Jesus, not this culturalized Jesus, not this Jesus that we made up to fit the American culture, Western culture. No. I have seen the real authentic Jesus. I have seen real hunger from people who don't have nothing, but they just want a real encounter. They need a miracle. They need a breakthrough. I've seen it with my own two eyes. I've experienced God in my own life, tangibly, physically. Like I've just seen him move. And every time I'm going through something, every time we've gone through something as a couple, as a family, like God has literally put people in our lives that have gone through that, are going through that, are coming out of that.
Yep, every time.
Every single time.
Every single time.
Every single time. Mm-hmm. We didn't search for them. We didn't seek them out. We didn't.
Because I am the most
get on Facebook and start a GoFundMe to help us pay for our miracle. I'm not saying that if you do that, that's wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I know that my God, he always provides. He always provides a way for us when it seems like legit, like, oh man, ain't nobody going through what we going through. That's why we posted the clip that we did. You are not the only one going through what you've gone through.
Yeah.
You're not the only one. So don't let the enemy like beat you up and slap you upside
with
your
your
head
own thoughts
and make you feel guilt, shame, and disappointment because you think you're the only one. You're not.
He be using your own thoughts that you be thinking, and that's why it be feeling so real. Because it's like you be like, people make the devil seem like he just be like making stuff up, like he just gonna come in here and tell you, oh, you're gonna die in 7 days. Like, no, the devil don't do that. The devil's gonna use whatever thoughts you were already thinking, stuff that you're already privy to, like your own like struggles. He'll use that, the stuff that you already prone to do. So like if you already beat yourself up, he gonna make you beat yourself up even more, and then keep it to yourself. And that's why I be trying to tell y'all can't keep secrets. If you in a marriage, you cannot keep secrets from your spouse. You cannot. You can't hold things in, hold things back. You have to tell them. You have to tell them, because when you keep it in, it's way easier for the devil to come in and be like, yeah, you can't tell him that, because if you tell him that, they gonna leave you. They gonna, you know what I mean? That's foul. It's foul play. But you're vulnerable, and when you're vulnerable and you're weak, that's when he attack. So you gotta be aware that your thoughts may not be right. Your feelings are not always right. You're not alone, right? You're not. We're literally just sitting here telling you this. You're not alone.
You're not alone. I couldn't like not do it.
You had to do it. One of the other things that I learned from this was I had to give you space too, because I was making it, not that I was making it all about me, but I felt like it was all me. And it was just me. Like, I'm alone. Like, I didn't bring you in. And it wasn't until 2020 when I was finally like, oh shoot, maybe Cam needs help too. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I suggested that you start going to the doctor and stuff, and like getting checked out and everything. Because I never really thought about. Actually, no, it wasn't then. It was when we didn't want to go to that baby shower. That's what I realized. Oh,
it was when I didn't.
You didn't want to go. I didn't want to go either.
But you had. I mean, you had rarely wanted to go to some of the other ones. Let's be real.
I mean, yes, but
let's be clear.
When you said you didn't want to go, then it really hit me, and I'm like, oh shoot, like this is affecting him too, and I didn't even think about how it was affecting you mentally.
I mean, let's be real. Like, baby showers really ain't for the, like.
I mean,
the
they're really not
husbands.
fun.
Like,
If we're gonna be
it ain't
real,
fun for us.
it's not fun for them.
Like,
it's really not fun for me. Honestly, truly, I don't. I do really good with the games though.
and then
Good
some
at
of the
games.
ones that I went to, you know, they asked me to take pictures, and you know, it's like, okay, now I'm going through pictures, right? So when I felt like I didn't want to go anymore, it was because I didn't realize until looking back on it, in hindsight is 2020. I was about to turn 30.
Yeah.
My parents had me at 30 and 31. Yeah, 29 and 30. My mom was 29, dad was 30. And I had always said that I wanted to have kids before I turned 30.
You did say that. I remember
Because
saying that.
my dad
is much older than you.
Not really. Like, by today's standards, yeah, but like in like traditional standards, not really. He's 30 years older than me.
I mean, but my mom is 20 years older than me, so that
my
age
dad,
gap
like,
is
he just
different.
kind of stopped like playing with me, like playing ball, and like he stopped like kind of being active with me. And I was like, man, if he was a little bit younger, like we would have had more of that time.
Yeah.
You know, and so I always just felt like I wanted to beat that age. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, especially we got married at 23, 22.
Right.
It's like, or 23, technically.
I mean,
21.
I couldn't really feel like that because my parents had me way younger. So
but we're not talking about them.
But that was a part of it too. I did feel like a failure because my mom had me so easily.
Just because she had you young doesn't mean it was easy.
Are you kidding me? My parents were only together for a year.
Okay.
Like that's easy.
Whatever. Comparison kills.
It does. I had to stop comparing myself to my mom. Let's start there because I was definitely doing that.
Comparison kills. And parents, you got to stop comparing yourself to your kids. Because
exactly.
y'all ain't the same.
We not the same.
Message.
We not the same. I'm mad you knew exactly what button it was. You pressed it really hard.
Because I know. I was confident in that one.
But I'm sorry. I cut you off. Go ahead.
As you continue to do.
I'm sorry.
But they won't talk about that. They'll just talk about when I cut you off.
Okay, stop. Go ahead.
But yeah, I was about to turn 30. And I'm like, dang, like, I want to have a baby shower for me and my wife, for our child.
Right.
Like, I'm out. Like, don't invite me to no baby shower. Like, even now. And my heart is like, I'm good again. But don't invite me to no baby shower.
Nah, I just don't want to go.
If you got more than one, don't invite me.
Yeah, like I said, after that third,
now I'm talking about you.
After the baby shower and the baby sprinkle, it's just a drop.
Bruh.
This is the 17th child you've had.
Stop having baby showers.
You have to have a baby shower for you.
So I was feeling that. Then I started kind of open up to my dad. And then I started having other conversations with brothers that were like, hit me up like, hey, bro, like, you good? Like, I know, blah, blah, blah. And then they started telling me, I was like, bro, I ain't even know. Like, why you ain't say nothing? You know what I'm saying?
They don't
like,
never say nothing until you tell them that. And then now y'all together.
And you don't know that we put the emphasis and the focus on the woman.
Yeah.
Who may be the problem.
Right.
But I mean, it's two of us, so there's a 50-50 chance that
it could be you.
It could be you.
Or it could be both. I mean.
And so when she suggested, she was like, hey, you know, I want you to, you know, go to the doctor, blah, blah, blah. You know, at this particular time, like I'm going to the gym, I'm playing ball. Like, I'm like, what you mean? Like, I'm healthy. Like, in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm good. But I'm like, all right, you know, let me go to this little doctor, whatever.
Entertain.
Let me, you know what I'm saying? Let me go to this little doctor. Come to find out, like, there are things that's stressing me out, that affect my body, that affect my testosterone levels, that, you know what I'm saying? So, like, fellas, like, don't, if you are newly married and y'all are experiencing infertility, don't think it's your wife. Don't just be looking at her
could
like,
be you.
What's wrong? I didn't sow the seed. I should be reaping a harvest. get yourself checked out, fellas. Get yourself checked out. And so, you know, from what was that? It was my first doctor's appointment 2019 to 2020. From 2020, my stress levels way up. And Dr. Jean, she can have more technical terms. We should try to get her on.
Oh, we should have her on.
Yeah, we
that
should
would
get
be
her on.
fun.
That'd be super dope.
That would be fun. She's so smart. I love her.
She put me on a supplemental regimen. That's why, you know, I was posting it and I was like, oh, Cam, man, tell me which ones you take. Like, bro, no. Because this is tailored to
It's very
me.
specific.
Like, it's tailored literally to my body.
Very
I went
specific.
through many tests. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, everyone's body needs something different because all of our bodies are different.
Yes.
And so she put me through this regimen, went back for our year checkup or whatever, and everything is up. All levels are up. Yeah. So it's like, man, like.
And Cam ain't get sick one time last year. When I tell you.
Ever since I've gone to Dr. Janine.
He did not get COVID. He did not get sick. He ain't got nothing.
I have not gotten sick. Now, the only time I did get sick is because I was doing too much, and my body literally just was like, Negro, sit down.
No.
And that was literally one day. It was one Sunday.
That
I
was
couldn't
this
go
year.
to. Yeah, it was this year. I didn't go to church. I stayed in the bed. I took my supplements, took my Z-Packs, and then literally the next day, I was fine. My body literally was like, you just need to sit down.
Yeah, you're doing too much.
Sleep and shut up.
I was trying to wake up at 5 a.m. and play golf every day and travel, and it was a lot.
Yeah, I was traveling. I was playing basketball.
Waking up really early.
Golf.
You were a little excited. It's okay. Energizer bunny.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So ever since then, like, body has been great. My performance has been great. And so, man, like,
explain this performance.
I feel like it'll be a good conversation between my brother Larocco and I to have, like, on the pod and just talk about, you know, the male perspective with you all. But to really dive into the male perspective, because there's just so many unknowns. There's so many things that you don't know. So many things you get hit upside the head with. And so many ways that we as husbands have to literally be the first line of defense and the first line of support. Because, like, folks are crazy.
Listen, when
and
I tell
folks
you,
will literally, like,
I'm working.
So, girl, when
day.
you going, like, when you gonna do this? Girl, when you gonna get pregnant? What you need to do is this. And it's like, bro,
I'm working every day. I'm depressed.
I didn't know you had all the answers.
Man, it's been rough. When I tell you it was rough, it's like, because at one point it felt like every time I uploaded a picture or anything, like, y'all, when I tell you, I was literally having to edit. And
she was editing. I was
editing my
she
body.
Was editing her stomach. I'm like,
in every picture.
I don't want people to ask me. I'm like,
because what
are you talking
because
about?
I learned that I have a pelvic tilt, and Cam was so annoyed with me saying pelvic tilt. But I had learned I had a pelvic tilt.
I didn't have a problem with you saying pelvic tilt. I had a problem with you saying anterior pelvic tilt.
Because that's what it is. It's an anterior pelvic tilt. So basically, y'all know how, like, some of us,
then she would start
black folks,
looking at the way I stand.
Because you got one too. But basically, like, it's when your core is not strong enough to hold your body in an upright position to stand straight up. So then your body does that slanty thing where your booty is sticking out, but your stomach also sticks out too. So you got booty do. And then basically what that does is it weakens your core muscles. And that's also not good because that also can affect your sexual performance. But at the same time, what happens is it just look like your stomach is big for no reason. And like you got a fupa, but you don't have a fupa. So, like, I was out here standing wrong because I have bad posture because of my anterior pelvic tilt, which I think is because I have flat feet. And, like, it was making me look pregnant all the time. So then people would, like, see me in pictures. They'd be like, oh, my God, Vicky's pregnant. Look, oh, my gosh, look at her stomach. And I'm like, well, y'all got to stop stomach watching because, number one, I'm not. And number two, I'm struggling. So please stop it because you're making it worse. You know what I'm saying? So then I started editing my stomach. And so when I look back on some of those pictures from like 2016, 2017, that's not my body. It is my body, just not in the stomach area. The stomach has been edited. And it's so sad because I look back and I deleted the originals too because I didn't want to be reminded. And it's like, though, like, I just remember, like, oh, I can't upload this picture because I got to edit it because I don't want people to, like, point out that I have a protrusion. Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. But we made it through. I made it through. That's all that matters. I feel like right now I'm in a very good space. Very, very good space. Because I feel like, one, I am very appreciative. I am actually glad we went through this, which sounds absolutely crazy to say. But I'm glad that we don't have kids right now. I'm glad we don't have kids right now, number one, because I want to get a new house and I want to be, you know, not, obviously you can't be prepared, but you can at least, you know, have things set up so that you can be successful. We've had time to work on ourselves. We've had time to work on our finances. We've had time to really build this business up so that we have more than enough money for whatever we need. We won't be struggling. I mean, all of that. But also, we've had time to get to know each other. We've had time to travel. We've had time to, like, really develop our relationship so that we're really strong, so that when we do have kids, we're solid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean.
So that just made me think. I was going to say sorry to cut you off, but I'm not sorry. That just made me think about how so many people would, like, come up to me and be like, man, Cam, I just love how you and Vicky waited to have kids before y'all started.
Oh my God. They do be saying that. Like, I love how y'all just waited.
And I just be like, yeah,
man,
we
did.
You know, yeah,
we
man.
did. We waited.
You gotta wait, bro. And I just go with it, because, like, I'm not gonna give you a whole spiel. I'm not gonna give
you the whole spiel. But yes, it's funny when people say that. Like, I just love how y'all just travel the world, and girl, wait as long as you can, because once the kids come, things change. And I'm just like, yep, you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Amen. I want to insert memes so bad. I probably should start doing that because I be saying memes all the time. Y'all probably don't even catch them. But yeah, I am appreciative. I feel like there's a reason that we're going through this, but I also feel like it's made me a lot stronger of a person. I've learned a lot about myself. And, you know, I'm still learning a lot about myself, still learning, you know, how to deal with myself. But at the same time, when I tell you, I look back on some of those videos that I recorded, and this is also another reason why I haven't got back on YouTube fully yet, because it's triggering. Honestly, it really is. It's very triggering for me, because I was a totally different person, and I was going through so much when I was really doing YouTube heavily, and, like, looking back on those videos, I'm like, I feel so bad for her. Like, she's so sad. Like, look at her. Y'all don't see it. Y'all see just Vicky talking about her hair, makeup, clothes, whatever. And y'all enjoy the content. But I was depressed when I tell you. So watching that stuff back, even like some of the vlogs, I just be like, wow, I remember that day. Like, I remember that. And it just be like, wow, I'm so grateful I'm not in that space anymore. But I also really like myself way more than I did back then, because, geez Louise, I was underweight and sad and
underweight and overwhelmed.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And I'm just so, like, I love us, honestly, truly. I love us, like, way more now. Obviously, I love you more every year, and I love us more every year. But because we've gone through this, I feel like we together, we've really come into ourselves. You know, like, come into our own. And I don't think we would have had that had we not gone through this. I'm proud of us. We did that.
Great marriage for life.
I'm glad we'd waited to do this now, because this is way more positive than I ever thought this video would be.
See, the reason why you may feel like, and some people may feel like, I didn't speak as much. Like, I felt like just seeing
I told you this was therapy for me.
Seeing you be that open and talk that much, I was like, why? I'm sitting up here like, you go, girl.
You proud of me?
I'm proud of you.
Aw. Okay, now I'm gonna cry. I don't want to cry.
For real, like, for you to be able to get on here, like, after all that you've gone through, for real, like, for real, like, the stuff, man, like, like recapping on 2016. 2016 was trash.
It was trash, like really bad.
2016 was trash.
It's really bad.
And like to see like where we are now, like mentally, spiritually, emotionally, like we're two emotionally mature people. God has literally blessed our house, like literally, like in a pandemic, like increase. And that's not bragging or being, braggadocious. Once again, I'm not talking about your experience, what you've gone through. I'm just talking about me and our life and my life and how I've seen God literally show up. Man, I'm proud of you, babe. You killing it. We killing it. People are being impacted by, our openness, our transparency, us like having the conversation.
Yeah.
Sparking the conversation. Talking about things that people wouldn't necessarily talk about. People, treating us, kind of differently in different circles and things of that sort because, it's like, hey, I wouldn't move like that. Hey, man, everybody's not going to understand the assignment that God put on your life. And that's cool. Like, I used to not be cool because I'm a people person, so I want to please people. Now I'm preaching. And it's like, once you get comfortable, when I turned 30, so many things shifted for me. I just became so comfortable in who God, like,
man, I can't wait to feel that.
Really called me to be.
I already kind of feel it, though. I ain't gonna lie.
And it's like, bro, like,
I feel 30.
Man, you not like some of the people that I love and respect. You not with it. I'm sorry, but like this is what God is calling me to do. People thought Noah was crazy for building an ark. They never seen one before. They talked
about him for years. They talked about him.
But now they look back on the archives.
Oh, come on.
And they like, man,
that was good.
Dude really knows God. So that's all. That's all I'm gonna say before I really hook these hoop triggers up and go in. So, man, we appreciate y'all. This has been therapeutic. This has been ministry. This has been freeing. This is like a release.
Man, it took me so long. I have been holding all that in for so long. And I thought I was going to get on here and just be really, because at one point I did want to do a video like this just so I could vent. And it would have been really bad because I would have probably just went off on everybody.
It would have been all flesh.
It would have been all flesh.
Nobody would have been helped.
It would have been no positivity. It would have just been, I'm sick of this. I'm tired of these MFing snakes on this MFing plane.
Okay, Samuel L. Jackson.
That's what it would have been. It would have been that. And I'm glad I didn't do it at that point in my life because it would have been that. It would have been Vicky After Dark, and I would have just went in.
My God.
Because there were moments, man. It's a grieving process you go through, okay? Grieving, you can grieve something that has not happened.
Yeah.
And it was a grieving process happening. And, when you grieve, there's different stages. The angry stage, it was a long, angry stage, all right? We're gonna close this out.
We're going to close this out, man. Thank you guys
for my nose running.
Those of you that have been rocking with us.
Like, I mean, for real.
We would see y'all in the comments.
Shout out to the people
going
in the
in
comments.
On people.
Shout out to the people in the comments.
Y'all like, no, they like. I would always give people the benefit of the doubt, even though my brother DJ Hines said, "Ain't no benefit in doubting." I would always give people the benefit of the doubt. Say, you must be new here, and people thought I was being facetious. No, like legit. I just would think like you must be new. Like, oh, you don't know.
They don't
but
know.
Y'all would be. That is disrespectful, and y'all would be rebuking people spiritually.
Yeah,
I'd be like, man, hey.
And then I have to come in and break it up because, like, I don't want people to come on my page and think this is like
you're gonna get beat up.
You gonna get beat up. You know what I mean? I don't want to cause an issue. I don't want to make it a scene, because even that is overwhelming. So but shout out to y'all though.
Shout out to y'all. Appreciate y'all.
We appreciate that.
Y'all some real ones, and you deserve some claps. You deserve an applause.
Right.
So we appreciate you guys.
I got a lot of thug aunties up in here. You know what I'm saying? I ain't mad at it.
Right. So hey, once baby Logan, once they arrive.
It sounds weird to say, but okay.
It's going to happen.
I know it's going to happen, but it still sounds weird. there are some things that are not gonna be. There's some things that are not gonna change. It's always gonna be weird for me to have a whole child. Like, it's weird for my friends who have children. They still look at their kid like, be like, where you came from, because
right.
Well, how did you get here? That's still gonna be weird for me, even after it's a whole miracle and everything. I'm still gonna be like, how did this happen? Like,
Yeah.
what? This is me doing this, really? So just be prepared for weirdness, because it's gonna be weird. But yeah,
it's gonna be weird. But
one day, we don't know when, but one day, you know.
Yep. So hey, love y'all. Thank y'all once again. Y'all can find us on every podcast platform there is. Also hit us up on Patreon. Everything is we. If you want to join the Patreon family, you want to subscribe, you want to support us, feel free. We're not going to stop you.
We're not going to stop you.
We're not going to stop you. We're not going to block your blessing. Appreciate the love, the support. YouTube, Patreon, Anchor, Instagram, everything is we. We're not on Facebook. We're not on Twitter. Follow us on TikTok. We don't have everything is we TikTok, but follow us respectively. I was gonna get it right.
You should only say respectively when you've already given what's respective, which is our names.
Respectfully. So hey man, checking in, checking out. We love y'all. Peace.
All right.